This is a ACQ AI video where we're going to take the prompts members in the free community for VentureMap have submitted. We're going to run them through the $6,000 AI program that we got in the most recent Money Models launch. First of all, something that's important is strategy execution and the effective prioritization of tasks and the execution of those tasks. All of the clients and teams I work with, the first system that we'll install is the strategy execution system, and showing how the chef eats his own cooking, that the trainer actually uses his own routines. That's a big deal for me. So I just wanted to show you guys that I'm doing what the main thing I talk about doing right now, which is executing on tasks that are actively tracked. And in this case, the free community has that anchor point in my calendar. So I've time blocked it and I'm monotasking on that. And that's integrated vertically with my longer planning horizon. Okay. So if you don't have your 90-day plan yet, and maybe you're like a few people who, let me see, there's my man, Pavillas. It said recently, at first I thought this was a joke. AI is so ahead right now. You're crushing it big time. And I just wanted to say it is not a joke. The same exact quarterly planning process that I'm doing with my high ticket clients, I'm allowing a limited access, a limited capacity to provide that same deliverable to members of the free community. And what that basically looks like is a 90-day growth plan that integrates your long-term vision with your short-term priorities. We've used a number of best practices, specifically the entrepreneurial operating systems, VTO models, for those out there that are into that space. That's what the primary benchmark is in terms of the structure for the framework. But the way it's delivered is pretty sweet. It comes in a 3-minute or so custom branded video briefing over a deck. And then I'll even work with you to revise the version 1 into a solid V2. And that's the first step in establishing a foothold in your strategy execution system, is having that 90-day planning horizon that's integrated with a longer view strategic roadmap. And once we move further, like members in our elite community will decompose that 90-day plan into more discernible, discrete task items that can be executed on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis. Just like I started the video off talking about monotasking and time blocking, that's the type of stuff we get into in the elite community. All right, enough shameless plugs. We've had a kind of a surge of new members join over the last several weeks. And a big part of that is because of this guy right here, 200 books to donate. And it's funny, I dropped this originally in the schoolers community, and we got a lot of good takers. We got a lot of takers there. And my wife said, maybe we should just, now we've got 50 or 60 comments, we should just reposition this into the free community. And my wife, being my better half and absolute genius, was correct. We've had a number of people join, and that's been a lot of fun to see some movement in this space. We've been primarily focused within VentureMap Elite and our operator tiers over the last year, while we've been slowly establishing some fun, like foundational infrastructure for the free community. A big promise of mine is that I don't want this to just be like so many other free communities that are literally just a nurture sequence for a paid group. It doesn't feel good. It's something I always churn out of those when I found myself in them, but I want this to actually be fun, engaging, and actually move the needle in the real world, just like we do with our paid engagement. We've got some pretty serious inputs, notable shout outs. Ivan right here has put some hardcore input. So I want to shout out to that. Joe, let me know if I'm mispronouncing any of these names, but we've got just a number of guys and that have come through. So what I've done, just to keep it organized for us, is we basically have 4 primary inputs we're going to cover. Okay. We've got, in order that they were received, we've got Joe's, Ivan's, we've got Michael's, and then actually a notable mention from Pavillas, who actually just got his growth plan finished and delivered yesterday. Looking forward to hearing his input on that. He actually went through something that I don't know if a lot of people know about. So kind of part of this is a housekeeping and setting the tone for consistency. One thing that I realized is, hey, listen, we have this cool tool. We can do all sorts of things with it, but how do we make it more available? Because if it's just here, I'm probably going to replace this pinned post. And what one of the things we love in VentureMap is asynchronous tools. We've got clients all over the world. So as you guys know, time zones are a tricky thing to align. So my thinking was, hey, listen, let's set up these like asynchronous workshops. One of the biggest things about workshops is people don't have a group workshop. People don't have a love for waiting in line to get their questions answered. I don't know about you, but I've got a very limited amount of time. My wife and I have 2 kids, and I've got clients, and not to mention other things like getting away from a computer, working out, these sorts of things. So sitting around waiting in line to get a question answered is not at the top of my list. But getting like insight and signal and meaningful input and how about a done for you production? That's the type of stuff that I do want. So I was like, how do we give that to the people that come into the community in a way that's super time efficient, leverages all of our emerging technologies, and also pre-selects people that have a inclination towards this type of engagement, which is async first and on the edge of new technologies. I just wanted to shout this out. It's experimental for sure. Maybe the timing is off 9 to 5, maybe crazy, but my thinking is this is basically the same thing by another name, these events in the free community. And we can do some live events too, but basically it's if you come through here, this is basically just a formatted version of use the ACQ AI for free. This is in our free community. So if you wanted to work on your money models, then you would come through here. Just make sure that you let me know who came through so I can make sure you're tagged and whatnot. If I don't have this, it's going to be hard for me to tell who actually is sending the prompt. But we basically can use the ACQ AI and a few other tools, which you'll see in this video, to help you guys for free without having to drop the 6 Gs that I did. So that's nice. So anyways, if you guys at any point in time want help on your offers, on your like lead magnets, nurture sequences, the money models, or just in general, you've got other questions and you want to just see how the ACQ AI compares, you can drop a note in here. And so that's one mechanism of support we have. And the second mechanism is the growth plan. So the growth plan, you can start it through a few different areas. You can start here, start the intake, and you can also start it right in here. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy. It takes about a day, maybe 2 business days on average, just depends on how much backlog we've got. All right, so that's the housekeeping. Now let's get into the main event, all right, for real this time. So we've got these 4 inputs, 3 primarily from the feed, and then 1 notable mention from Pavilis. And we're going to need to do a little bit of inference here to figure out exactly what we're looking for. But let's start up here with Joe's. All right, man, let's give it a try. If you had to start from scratch with the one skill generating leads through paid ads, what short, medium, and long-term strategy would you use to build and scale the most efficient solo business possible, 10 million a year? Yes, that sounds fantastic. All right, I'm using Whisper AI as well, which is an awesome tool. Highly recommended. I'm just going to free flow into this with you guys. I'm working with a number of members of my free community to throw in like community contributed to each of them individually as these are. Here's the first input. Okay, so while that's running, what I'm actually going to do is this. Start from scratch with paid. Interesting. That's really interesting. Let's do this, guys. Because I want to push this forward, but I'm also thinking, what happens if we actually keep this as like a part of an ongoing dialogue? So here's what I want to do for Joe. We're gonna get this actually spun off for Joe, and then we're gonna press forward. Cool. So then, Joe, what I want you to do is just to select some of those from the intake, and then in the next video, we'll dive in. So Ivan's coming through here he's a heavy hitter. We've got a massive input from him. We've got 2 different prompts. So this is a solid thing. I'm not going to read Ivan's full thing. Appreciate it. You did amazing. Working on the attraction offer for the Stake Academy. We offer digital products. And then Ivan also provided this. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay. You got Joe taking care of too many items. Based on everything you know from, there we go. Check for another client right now. I'm cutting through my lead nurture. There we go. Cool, man. So we got Ivan taken care of. We'll let Gamma do its thing. Okay, we're on the Michael. Ivan, I'll have to do this second one on the next go around. I did get your message. Maybe we'll do that in we'll do another async round, or we can perhaps even sync up live sometime. All right, could you prompt ACQ AI this map an ADHD founder business blueprint? That's cool. Which roles must be outsourced first? Sweet, dude. Okay, the next input is from Michael. Here's what he said. All righty, Michael, let's see. Okay, let's find your attention. I see we need more input. I just wonder maybe I can take 2 seconds of additional initiative here. Let's see. All right, Michael, pretty cool. Was gonna see if I could pull from Michael's community page. I don't see that. Okay, tell you what we're going to do for Mr. Michael here is we're just going to run this through. This will be an intake just like we had the first one. Michael, once we get some feedback back from you and from Joe, we'll run this through again and get some additional details. Something we can obviously see just from, remember the computer science acronym, GJO, junk in, junk out, or another way to think of it is quality in, quality out. We've got, 3 lines here. We've got 3 lines here. Both of it came back with, give me more information. We got Ivan's here, which is like freaking massive. We didn't even use this one. And massive in the best way possible. And not to mention that what's not represented is the full avatar doc that I sent in. And we've got 2 solid outputs for Ivan to consider. So we need more data from you, Mr. Michael. And what I'm going to do is just run this through the Look Good machine, also known as Gamma. And then we'll go ahead and get you taken care of. Right. All right. Cool. Now we got that the wild card here. Thinking on how main school communities to create. I wonder if what Pravilis is saying here is how many school communities to create. It seems like that is where he's coming from. All right, last one here is here's a bit of background from his profile to provide additional context. Let's see, maybe AI knows Lithuanian. Let's see what happens. All right, Michael, set. Okay. I got Michael. Okay, Pavilis, how many schools? One school. I'll tell you what, dude, my super quick remark to this is after going through he used to call it, Max, what is he? Swedish guy, Finnish guy, won the school bands a few times. This thing's called Course now with a K. It used to be called something else, School Masterclass, I think it was. Like when I bought that last year, it was an awesome learning, really helped collapse my learning curve. A couple things that are, as they say, some of the best teachers are the ones that show you what not to do. Just personally, I left thinking, okay, I would personally do some things different, which is fine, right? And anyways, he's a big advocate for this free and paid community. And then he has a masterclass tier. And you had to do that recently, but I think if you hang tight for another couple of weeks, when they launch this ability to stack tiers within a single community, it's going to make such a world of difference just from a simplicity standpoint. Also, because you can compound a lot of value. Because you think about it, we're doing this sort of dynamic engagement inside of the free community here, but then there's also dynamic engagement inside of the paid community for Venture Map Elite. And then it's like migrating that, then you lose it in one, and then it's new to the other. So there's that segmentation that has pros and cons. I mean, there's advantages to that, but it's not like all good necessarily. Having the ability to have the free community with paid tiers within, that's what the feature set that the school is going to be releasing shortly. That's legit. All right, Pavilis, I think you're all set, my man. You got a couple things to review. You got your growth plan to review, and you've got this ACQ AI output to review. So I'm going to make sure that you get this. And I think that means we're all set. That is the completion of the first, perhaps of many, like async workshops utilizing the ACQ AI. Let me know, guys, know what you think. Should we keep doing this? How can we get even more effective and efficient as things go? Is there something you think we could do to make the outputs more meaningful? Let me know. If you guys don't have a single screen for your entire business yet, then now is definitely the time to start. I'll tell you what, managing the complexity of any business, even a solo business with a school community, can be daunting using the host of different tools available to you. So I want to encourage you guys to pick up the 3 master template for Miro. There's a couple places you can snag that. Easiest place is right here. If you click the link in our free community, that will just take you to this Miro board. And just real quick, you guys can, this is like probably 3 generations back, which is relatively new, right? So I think this is probably closer to where we were at the beginning of the year. You can watch a quick briefing video here. And for the most part, the base logic is still the same with what we're operating on today in Elite. You can see the full scope deliverables that's in here. It's a solid place to start for the most part. If you guys want the most like up-to-date version that we're using with the people who are in our operator tier, as an example, fractional COO level, I'm happy to set you up with this. It's got a few quality of life improvements, has some refinements, and the easiest and most effective place to start, of course, is that growth plan. So getting a briefing video, but then having that planning horizon, 3-year, 1 year, 90 days, zeroing in to the handful of things that you need to focus on in the next quarter is a big deal. That's a critical part of your strategy execution system. At which point then we start saying, okay, what sort of top of funnel and mid funnel assets do we have? How are we driving traffic, building our lead gen and nurture systems, et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't have that template and you know where to grab it, we talked about a number of things today. We talked about our async workshops, which you can go through pretty much any time, actually. If you just go over here to calendar, you can hit one of these and just click on that video ask and provide input. That's experimental. So I think we'll see how it goes. We'll let it run for a little while longer. If you guys want to sync up with me at any point, you can hit this. It'll take you to the live call link. There am I. You can jump on a video call if I'm available. I'll just pick it up. If I'm not, you can either just come through here and book a call. That's pretty common, but you could also just ask a question. Sometimes people on the other side of the world syncing up on the calendar isn't always the right fit. So we can just keep it async, or you can book a call at any time. That kind of keeps it one-on-one. So that mechanism is available to you as well. I've done all this to try to make the free community as genuinely valuable as possible. If you guys haven't started to cut through the videos and the classroom, you're welcome to do. These are very brief. So especially here in the start section, you'll see these videos are like literally 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. And that's intentionally done to be respectful of your time, to give you quick wins and deliver an insight that's so what of this whole place. Down here, I included this bonus that's a bit longer of me providing details on the tools, the framework, the methodology that we use in VentureMap. And then I've actually pulled this section down from our paid community recently, which is the training on strategy execution system. Or in other words, that is the planning horizon. All right, guys, that's it for now. Thank you for jumping in with me. Appreciate you. If you've got more inputs, specifically those who didn't get like the best tactical output, it's more of, hey, give me more feedback. I believe that is Joel and Pavilas. Then what I want you guys to do is to just simply respond. You can put a new post up if you want, or respond there. Maybe I'll make a new channel in here for ACQ AI actually. And let's see, and then we can just probably build the thread out in there. It's actually a pretty good idea. So then what we can actually do, cool, AI right here. So then if you guys want anything in here, just if you guys want to continue the dialogue, I think my hypothesis is that this will be the right spot to get it done. Drop remarks in here and I'll come through on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and I appreciate you and I look